I wanted to say thank you both for joining us this morning. You guys have really been the talk of the province, and I was just wondering if you guys could introduce yourselves and just give us a little bit of a story about how you guys started officiating.
Kiara, you can go first.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
I guess I like it was just a family affair. Like my sister before me started reffing, so it was something that was kind of seen like it's like a rite of passage in our household of like we're all gonna ref at least once and try it. And I don't know, I just really loved it, so I kept sticking with it.
For me, I used to play hockey. I grew up playing minor hockey in St. Albert with the boys, and back then, not a lot of girls played hockey. In fact, there were only two. Another girl named Darianne, who was a little bit older than me. And then at that point in time, girls did not play past bantam hockey. That's how old it was. It was called bantam. So I switched to the ladies' league and spent a lot of time in the penalty box just because it was a little more aggressive coming from boys hockey. And I used to complain about the officiating all the time. And then one game, a ref told me if I thought I could do a better job to take a clinic. So I did. And I've never looked back. I've officiated ever since. So that was 27 years ago.
Amazing. That's so awesome. And what has it been like to get to share this passion and this experience together on the ice?
So I've been involved obviously officiating for a long time, and a lot of that is in a development role in St. Albert and the Edmonton area. So in St. Albert, we do a lot of extra ice sessions for refs. And so my kids always came. I have three kids who all refed, and they also all played hockey. So when we do some of our ref ice sessions, when they were younger, they would come out in their hockey equipment and kind of join in with all the refs and sometimes we're the demos for penalties and those kind of things. So they were immersed in the environment early on, and then they all, like I said, refed starting at kind of 11, 12 years old. So they were just basically products of their environment. And so when they started reffing, especially at the minor level, it was exciting for me. But on the ice, I spent a lot of time kind of watching them when I'm officiating with them, kind of making sure they're in the right place or they make the right call. Now I'm at a stage with Kiara is obviously a very good official. And so now when I work with her, it's really fun because I don't have to worry about watching her. I trust that she's going to do the right thing. And she'll probably tell you officiating with me is probably a little more difficult. I do hold my kids to a little bit higher standard than I would hold other officials, but I think that's just me trying to make sure that they're doing a really, really good job.
And so you guys' past couple of games that you guys had together, was there like a moment during the game that you were just like, it was like surreal being on the ice with your mom and just getting to live this history together?
Yeah, during the anthem. I think that's when it actually hit me a little bit of like, oh, oh, we're doing this now. Like this is not just a scheduled event. This is actually happening. I think that's what it all really sunk in for me. I was like, oh, here we go.
All right. And what about you, Shelley? Did you have a moment like that?
Actually, I did. It was last year, so we were doing an ACAC game, and I think it was Kiara's first ACAC games, and she was a Lions person. And I'm like, this is super cool that she's stuck with it this long, and that we actually got to do this because she's been working hard at developing. And so last year, that was the first moment we're like, hey, this is cool. And then earlier in the season, we did a U Sport game where, again, she was a Lions person. Actually, I think about it last year too, she was a Lions person. I thought that was pretty cool. But this year, when she got to be a referee with me at Claire Drake Arena, which for anyone who's officiated there, it's an interesting place to work and it's exciting. There's a lot of history there. So when we were doing that, I'm like, this is cool. And I appreciate that even in the dressing room, is when I first started going, yeah, this is awesome. And then right when we were stepped on the ice, we did our lap. I think I let her go first. And that's when I'm like, hey, she's arrived. And for years, we've always joked about my succession plan. And so when she was skating around the ice and I'm not going to admit this. Well, actually, I will admit this. She's way faster than me now. So, and before I always used to always hammer her on her skating because she used to be a goalie and I thought she always skated like a goalie, but now she's actually doing really good. So, when she kind of was skating and pulling away from me, I was like, oh, my succession plan has arrived. And I'm like, oh, I wonder how much longer I'm going to do this for. And was really, really proud of her. And then also, like I said, jokingly, a little bit worried. I'm like, oh, she's coming to take my job.
Oh,
Did you
that's
just
amazing.
actually compliment my skating?
Yep, don't tell any Chiara, you didn't hear that. We'll edit that part out.
That's awesome. Kind of moving on towards kind of like the growing presence of like the female officiates in hockey. How do you guys think that your story is going to inspire the next generation? And if it, what is your advice towards them?
I'd guess say like on the advice point is that especially like don't try and get discouraged and trying to understand that even going forward in any situation where it could be a tough environment to be in, that you can do it. You can overcome every obstacle that is thrown at you. You just kind of have to sometimes persevere a little bit and kind of learn new tricks to maybe not get so caught up in big moments.
Yeah, and yeah, I would agree with that. I think especially young officials in today's game, I mean, female hockey is the largest growing demographic. So I think a lot of younger officials, female officials, have great opportunities. And with having officials like Chiara out there or even myself, we try and build a positive culture within our region. And so there's a lot of support. And I think back in the day when there wasn't, a lot of female officials, especially doing male hockey, there wasn't a lot of support. There was a handful of ladies, especially working at the higher level. So, I mean, we reached out to each other and kind of, talked about or vented, kind of negative situations in games. But nowadays, there's a lot more camaraderie amongst the female officials because there's more of them. And I think having social media is having a positive impact on the female game and amongst the female officials. So, I mean, if Chiara and I out there, obviously been working together for a long time, and I think if anyone, can see something, hey, I want to do that. I think it's great. And for older ladies, I mean, it's never too late. There's always a place in hockey to officiate, and it might not be at a U Sport level or a double IHF, but certainly could be at the, a region's local, U13 or U15 program. And so I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's great advice for them. And kind of just the last question here, just to touch on, do you guys have any upcoming games that's happening, and kind of what are your goals for the future?
Yeah, we get, I'm sure we'll have some more U Sport games coming up. I haven't really checked out the December assignments yet. Usually December assignments from the school programs are pretty light. So I imagine January we'll probably get some more U Sport games together. And then locally in Edmonton or St. Albert, we'll probably do, U15, well, U18, U15 male games, and then female games will probably be some U18 that we'll be doing together. Yeah, no, I
Well,
think for me, I'll work with her as long as I can. Like I said, like we always joked about my succession plan. When she got here, I would retire. Now that's not going to happen. So, who knows? Maybe, with the 4 official system, I'll be able to skate a lot longer. It's certainly easier on the body than the, 3 official system as a referee. So, maybe my goal might be to officiate till one of my grandkids is an official. I mean, that could be in the stars.
I guess maybe for me, it's sometimes a little bittersweet when I think about it more. It's because it's the older I get, the more I realize that maybe me and my mom's paths and our officiating careers were diverging off just a little bit from me having higher aspirations and wanting to go to FIIHF or the gold medal game at the Olympics has been my goal forever. And realizing that a lot of those that I can't do that with her now anymore. Like but it's so that's why I think moments like these are cool because in my mind they can be a little bit fleeting as older I get. So
That's fair, yeah, and it's awesome that you guys get to share this experience together. That's all my questions. Thank you guys so much for meeting with us today, and we are super proud to have you guys a part of our organization.
Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you very much, and we appreciate the interest. I was talking to Chiara, I'm like, some of this seems a little weird because this is just something we do, and almost to get all this attention is a bit, like I said, odd, because this is normal in our house. This is normal for us to ref together, and officiating has been part of, especially my kids' lives for, ever since they've been born. So it's almost, yeah, like I said, weird getting kind of
Weird.
this attention. But if it helps female officials, or even other officials, I see there's lots of stories, where dads are repping with their sons, or grandpas are repping with their grandkids. I think that's pretty cool. But as far as the female aspect with the growing game, if it helps, I think it's great.